Was there ever anything quite like the pure excitement of a McDonald's run when you were young? Back in the era of teased hair, neon windbreakers, and cassette tapes, the golden arches seemed to glow just a little brighter than any other restaurant sign on the block. Stepping through those doors felt less like grabbing a quick meal and more like walking into a small celebration. The smell of sizzling burgers, the bright red and yellow decor, and the promise of a surprise toy waiting inside your meal, all combined to make every visit feel like an event worth looking forward to. Join us as we revisit 10 unforgettable McDonald's memories straight from the 1980s, the decade that turned fast food into pure childhood magic. For any kid growing up in that decade, few things matched the sheer excitement of cracking open a colorful Happy Meal box. Among the very best surprises waiting inside was the beloved Changeables toy series. Debuting in 1987, these sturdy little plastic figures were cleverly designed to look exactly like popular menu items sitting right there in your hand. With just a quick series of folds, clicks, and twists, an ordinary-looking fry carton or cheeseburger could suddenly transform into a menacing robot or a roaring dinosaur. Essentially, the fast food answer to Transformers, these toys had kids everywhere racing to trade, swap, and collect the entire lineup before their friends could beat them to it. Whether your personal favorite was the Dino Fries or the Robot Burger, these ingenious little toys managed to turn an otherwise ordinary lunch into a genuine playground adventure. Even now, decades later, grown-up fans still hold out hope that the chain will eventually bring them back for a nostalgic re-release. Fast food has always been synonymous with convenience. But back in the 1980s, it also meant some genuinely serious savings for the average family. Picture this: walking up to the counter, handing over a single $5 bill to cover breakfast for 2 people, and actually getting change back in your pocket. Early in the decade, a warm, fresh Egg McMuffin ran for about $1.15. Add a side of crispy golden hash browns for another 40-some cents, and top it off with a large cup of coffee for under half a dollar. A whole family could sit down and enjoy fluffy hot cakes, scrambled eggs, and sweet pastries without putting much of a dent in the household budget at all. Try getting that same generous spread today, and you'd need a considerably bigger wallet. Those old vintage prices now feel almost like a distant fantasy compared to modern menu boards. Well, before specialty coffee shops and trendy bakery chains ever dominated the morning breakfast scene, McDonald's quietly dabbled in its own bakery-style offerings. From 1982 through 1984, early morning customers had the pleasure of enjoying the irresistible caramel pecan roll. This was far from a typical fast food pastry sitting under a heat lamp. It was a soft, warm, freshly baked roll, thoroughly drenched in gooey caramel glaze and generously loaded with crunchy pecan pieces on top. Biting into one felt more like a treat from a small-town neighborhood bakery than anything you'd expect from a global burger chain drive-thru. Though hotcakes and Egg McMuffins eventually went on to dominate the breakfast lineup for good, those who still remember the caramel pecan roll continue to speak of it fondly, often calling it the ultimate pairing for a steaming cup of black coffee on a cold morning. Everyone today knows just how massively popular Chicken McNuggets eventually became, but far fewer people remember the odd little onion snack that actually came before them. Onion nuggets stuck around quietly in various test markets until 1984, never quite making the leap to a full national rollout. Rather than serving the usual sliced onion rings found at other drive-thru chains, McDonald's diced up onions into small bite-sized pieces, coated each piece in a savory seasoned batter, and fried them until perfectly crisp and golden. They were served up in a small cardboard tray, offering hungry customers a crunchy and flavorful alternative to the standard French fries. Onion nuggets managed to build a small but genuinely devoted fan base thanks to their unique texture and bold seasoning, but they never quite caught on with the wider public. Eventually, they faded out of test markets entirely to make room for more popular menu items.
though they remain a quirky and fascinating footnote in fast food history.
No trip through 1980s McDonald's nostalgia would ever be complete without mentioning the legendary McDLT. Launched in 1984, this unique sandwich was specifically engineered to solve a classic and frustrating problem: hot, freshly cooked beef patties making the crisp lettuce and juicy tomato go soggy before you even had a chance to take your first bite. The clever fix was a large two-sided styrofoam clamshell container, one side holding the warm bottom bun and sizzling patty, while the other side kept the cool top bun, crisp lettuce, ripe tomato, and a slice of cheese perfectly fresh and separate. The famous jingle reminded every customer to keep the hot side hot and the cool side cool. Diners assembled the sandwich themselves right at their table, which gave the whole thing a noticeably fresher, more customized feel compared to a standard pre-made burger. Sadly, growing environmental concerns surrounding those bulky foam containers eventually brought the McDLT's run to a permanent end in 1990.
Since the clever two-sided container concept had proven to be such a massive hit with customers, McDonald's decided to try the exact same trick with poultry instead of beef. Between 1986 and 1988, the McChicken LT offered a genuinely lighter option for health-conscious diners who were starting to look for alternatives beyond the standard burger menu. Just like its famous beef cousin, it arrived in that same bulky, double-sided foam container, carefully designed to keep the hot grilled chicken breast completely separate from the cool, crisp lettuce and tomato underneath. Despite the clever presentation and the genuine push toward healthier fast food options, it simply couldn't compete with the sheer popularity of the traditional burgers dominating the menu. It quietly disappeared before the decade came to a close, but in many ways, it helped pave the way for the modern grilled chicken sandwiches we see on menus today.
Early in the decade, McDonald's even attempted something that felt closer to a fancy steakhouse dinner than a typical fast food lunch. The chopped beef steak sandwich first appeared in the late 1970s and managed to stick around on menus until 1982. Instead of a traditional round hamburger bun, this hefty meal was served up on a long, bakery-style roll. It featured a generously seasoned chopped beef patty, completely smothered in savory grilled onions, and a rich, tangy steak sauce that soaked right into the bread. The overall goal was to offer hungry customers a slightly more premium dining experience that went far beyond the standard cheeseburger and fries combo. It was a bold and genuinely delicious experiment, and those who were lucky enough to try it back then still rave about its uniquely rich flavor to this day.
As the neon decade was finally winding down toward its close, McDonald's introduced a whole new twist on the classic cheeseburger. The cheddar melt debuted in 1988 as a special limited-time offering, and it absolutely blew customers away from the very first bite. This wasn't just a regular beef patty topped with a boring slice of processed American cheese. Instead, the beef patty was placed on a toasted rye bun and completely buried under sweet grilled onions and a gooey, rich cheddar cheese sauce. The combination of savory rye bread and creamy melted cheese made the whole sandwich taste like something you'd order at an upscale diner rather than a drive-through window. It was undeniably messy to eat, but every single bite delivered pure, comforting perfection. The cheddar melt developed such a fiercely loyal following that McDonald's ended up bringing it back for several limited-time promotions in the years that followed.
Ask anyone who grew up eating fast food back in the 20th century, and they'll insist without hesitation that the French fries simply tasted better back then. And they wouldn't be imagining things either. For years, McDonald's fried their world-famous potatoes in a special oil blend that contained roughly 93% beef tallow. This distinctive cooking method gave the fries a rich, savory, almost meaty depth of flavor that customers found completely irresistible. They came out perfectly crispy on the outside while staying wonderfully soft and fluffy on the inside. However, in 1990, mounting public pressure over saturated fat content finally pushed the company to switch over to plain vegetable oil instead.
Many longtime fans still insist that today's fries can't even come close to matching the mouth-watering magic of those original beef tallow fries from decades past.
It's almost impossible today to imagine a McDonald's menu without chicken nuggets sitting right there near the top. But believe it or not, before 1983, they simply didn't exist at the Golden Arches at all. When Chicken McNuggets finally rolled out nationwide, they completely transformed the way Americans ate on the go, for good. Available in convenient boxes of 6, 9, or 20 pieces, these crispy, golden bites of chicken felt like a genuine revelation to customers everywhere. Suddenly, everyone was dipping their food into little plastic tubs of sweet honey, tangy sweet and sour, spicy hot mustard, or classic barbecue sauce. Perfectly sized for smaller hands, they instantly became a beloved staple for family road trips and easy weeknight dinners alike. The launch of the McNugget ranks as one of the most successful product releases in restaurant history, and it remains a genuine core memory for millions of people who grew up in that era.
So, out of all these throwback McDonald's memories, which one hits closest to home for you? Was it the thrill of transforming a changeables toy, the sweetness of a caramel pecan roll, or the satisfying crunch of those original beef tallow fries? Share your favorite memory down in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for many more nostalgic trips down memory lane.